The date? September 28, 2008. The place? Singapore. And the event? Well, the Formula 1 Singapore Grand Prix, of course. Picture this, a battlefield of speed, each driver pushing their machine to the brink in a quest for victory. But amidst the roar of engines and the blur of colours, something sinister lurked in the shadows. Enter Nelson Piquet Jr., one of Renault's racing prodigies. Lap 14, turn 17. His Renault R28 careens into the side curb, disrupting the equilibrium of the race in one fell swoop. Chaos ensues. The crash, it seems, was more than just a racing incident, with the leading pack, including heavyweights like Lewis Hamilton and Felipe Massa, forced to pit early under the safety car conditions triggered by Piquet's mishap. The race dynamics took a sudden and suspicious turn. Yet, amidst the chaos, one man emerged unscathed: Fernando Alonso, Piquet's teammate, who went from 15th on the grid to pole position, clinching victory in a race that seemed tailor-made for him. Post-race, Piquet brushes off the crash as a mere hiccup, blaming it on the car's unwieldiness under heavy fuel. But here's where the plot thickens. What seemed like a stroke of luck for Alonso was, in reality, a meticulously orchestrated scheme that would shake the very foundations of Formula 1. 12 months later, the truth unfurls, courtesy of an unexpected informant, Piquet himself. Thus unravels the saga of Crashgate 2009, the biggest cheating scandal in Formula 1 history. Now let's rewind the clock and peek under the hood of Renault's Formula 1 journey before the Crashgate bombshell rocked the racing world. Back in 1977, Renault made its grand entrance into the F1 stage with the RS01, sporting the first ever turbo engine in the sport's history. But what followed wasn't a triumph victory lap. Instead, it was a series of disappointments that earned the RS01 the less than flattering nickname Yellow Teapot. Ouch. Despite pioneering turbo technology, Renault's early years in F1 resembled a rollercoaster ride of highs and lows, with more lows than highs. It wasn't until 1983 that they even came close to championship contention, only to spiral downwards once again shortly after. To add insult to injury, while Renault struggled to find their footing, other teams were making hay with the turbo engine technology they'd introduced. Talk about a bitter pill to swallow. Imagine introducing your sister to your favorite video game and then losing to her again and again. By 1985, financial woes forced Renault to scale back their F1 involvement, reducing their role to that of an engine supplier. But just when it seemed like curtains were closing on their racing aspirations, a spark of hope flickered in the 90s. Renault's engines powered several championship-winning cars, prompting a rethink. We are not as bad as we thought. Maybe we should race on Formula 1 tracks once more, the company thought. And so, with renewed determination, Renault re-entered the F1 arena in 2000, taking the helm at Benetton and setting their sights on redemption. But little did they know, their journey back to the top would be fraught with more than just on-track challenges. Stay tuned as we unravel the twists and turns that led Renault from the brink of obscurity to the center stage of one of F1's biggest scandals. Hold on to your seats, folks, as the plot thickens with the arrival of two pivotal players in the Crashgate saga, Fernando Alonso and Nelson Piquet Jr. In 2003, Fernando Alonso burst into the scene like a supernova, joining Renault after an impressive stint as a test driver. His debut victory at the 2003 Hungarian Grand Prix set the stage for Renault's resurgence, marking their first Grand Prix win in 2 decades. Talk about making an entrance. Under the visionary leadership of Flavio Briatore, Renault unleashed a wave of innovation, experimenting with unconventional designs like the 100-degree 10-cylinder engine. Remember this name, as he's about to take center stage in our story. While these experiments didn't always yield the desired results, Alonso's stellar performances propelled Renault to glory, clinching back-to-back Constructors' Championships in 2005 and 2006, with Alonso himself claiming the driver's crown both times. But every hero needs a sidekick, and in 2008, Nelson Piquet Jr. stepped into the spotlight alongside Alonso. The son of a racing legend, Piquet Jr. had big shoes to fill, but he wasted no time making his mark. Despite a rocky start to the season, Piquet Jr. showcased flashes of brilliance, securing Renault's first podium of the year at the German Grand Prix and igniting hopes of a brighter future for the team. And then came the fateful Singapore Grand Prix of 2008, where the seeds of scandal were sown, and the destinies of Alonso, Piquet Jr. and Renault became irrevocably intertwined. But we'll save that juicy chapter for later. As the 2008 season unfolded, Renault found themselves locked in a familiar struggle for supremacy. While Alonso managed to rack up points, Piquet Jr. faced a string of retirements, leaving his future with the team hanging in the balance. But hope flickered on the horizon with a podium finish at the German Grand Prix, signalling a potential turning point for Renault's fortunes. And then came Singapore, a race that would go down in history for all the wrong reasons. With Alonso starting from a lowly 15th on the grid and Piquet Jr. just a spot behind, Renault's prospects seemed bleak, but as the lights went out and the race began, fate took a sharp turn. Amidst the chaos of the Marina Bay Street circuit, Alonso made an audacious pit stop on lap 12, opting for a lighter fuel load, a move that raised more than a few eyebrows in the paddock. And then, like clockwork, disaster struck on lap 14, as Piquet Jr.'s Renault careened into the barriers at turn 17, bringing out the safety car. Safety car regulations in 2008 dictated that the pit lane would remain closed until all cars regrouped behind the safety car, effectively nullifying any advantage held by the frontrunners. To add insult to injury, drivers forced into pit stops for refueling faced additional penalties. Felipe Massa, driving his Ferrari, was handed a drive-through penalty for an unsafe release, as the Ferrari team released him with the fuel hose still attached. Imagine the frustration among the drivers stuck behind the safety car. And just like that, Fernando Alonso, who had been trailing in the race just moments before, suddenly found himself in prime position to snatch the lead, leaving his rivals trailing in his wake. The frontrunners couldn't bridge the gap, resulting in Massa finishing 13th and Lewis Hamilton settling for 3rd. Ultimately, Fernando Alonso claimed 5th place in the Drivers' Championship, with his teammate Piquet Jr. securing 12th. As for Renault, they wrapped up the season in 4th place in the Constructors' Championship standings. In the aftermath of the 2008 Singapore Grand Prix, the FIA initially brushed off Piquet Jr.'s crash as a simple mistake, using Piquet's earlier words. Renault's post-race press release even hailed Alonso's victory as simply a case of good luck and brilliant tactical drive by the driver. But this would change a year later. Piquet continued with Renault for the 2009 season but failed to secure any points in the initial races. His lackluster performance prompted Renault to make a bold move, replacing him with Romain Grosjean after just 10 races. On August 30th, 2009, Rede Globo, a prominent Brazilian television station, dropped a bombshell report alleging that Piquet Jr. had been instructed by his superiors to deliberately crash during the 2008 Singapore Grand Prix. In response to these startling claims, the FIA wasted no time in launching an investigation into what they termed as alleged incidents at a previous F1 event. It was evident to all that the spotlight was firmly fixed on the events surrounding the 2008 Singapore Grand Prix. On September 4, 2009, Renault F1 found itself formally charged with tampering with the outcome of the Singapore Grand Prix and colluding with their driver, Piquet Jr. The FIA stated that the team conspired with its driver, Nelson Piquet Jr., to cause a deliberate crash at the 2008 Singapore Grand Prix, all in a bid to benefit their other driver by prompting deployment of the safety car. And here is where the plot thickens. Mere days before Renault F1 was set to face the FIA World Motorsport Council, WMSC, in Paris, Piquet's initial statement to the FIA mysteriously found its way into the public eye. And guess who found his way back into the spotlight? None other than Flavio Briatore, the maestro behind Renault's resurgence in Formula One. Piquet confessed to FIA officials that the Renault F1's managing director, Flavio Briatore, along with the executive director of engineering, Pat Simmons, had ordered the crash. Following the allegations made by Piquet Jr., Renault announced that it was proceeding with legal action against Piquet Jr. and his father, Piquet Sr. WMSC was scheduled to meet in Paris on September 21, 2009, and just 5 days before the meeting, both Briatore and Simmons left the Renault team. After their departure, Renault announced that it would not be consenting the charges, but WMSC said, "No way are we letting you get away with all these serious allegations." The meeting went ahead as scheduled to decide the fate of all those who had been involved in the Crashgate scandal. Briatore was handed a lifetime ban from all FIA-sanctioned events. Simmons was given a 5-year ban. A possible reason behind this relatively lenient punishment could be Simmons' admission to the wrongdoing. As for Renault, the F1 team was given a suspended ban from the Formula One sport. The WMSC found Alonso and his mechanics to be innocent. Years after the dust had settled, Formula One's former CEO, Bernie Ecclestone, dropped a bombshell that reignited the flames of controversy. In 2023, during a candid interview, Ecclestone revealed that he and the then FIA president Max Mosley were aware of the Crashgate before it ever hit the headlines, opting to sweep it under the rug in a bid to protect the sport's reputation. The revelation sent shockwaves through the racing world, casting doubt on the integrity of those at the helm of Formula One during the scandal. Questions swirled about who else might have been privy to the truth, and what other skeletons lay buried in the sport's closet. But amidst the chaos, one man stood to lose the most, Felipe Massa. If the scandal had been exposed earlier, the 2008 Singapore Grand Prix would have been nullified, and Massa would have been crowned champion. Instead, he lost the championship to Lewis Hamilton by just 1 point. Fueled by a sense of injustice, Massa decided to explore his legal options and is now suing F1 and the FIA for justice and $80 million compensation. The saga of Crashgate remains etched in the annals of Formula One. It surprised many in the racing community and ended the careers of a few. But let us remember the enduring spirit of Formula One, where there are moments of triumph and resilience that remind us why we fell in love with the sport in the first place. If you've enjoyed this video, show your support by smashing that like button and dropping a comment down below. And hey, if you want to stay tuned for more riveting content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button too. Cheers!